The new revival of the Smartdoll Guys was set to launch this past weekend.
About that. Turns out, all it takes is one tweet and a Shopify exploit to derail the release yet again.
So whether you gave in to FOMO or watched on in confusion, we've got some explaining to do. It's Monday, March 24th, and this is your Smartdoll News.
Almost got it.
Almost.
So close. When we do a cold start live, it's always scary, but also, I looked down and I was like, wait, are we streaming? Because I saw like a button that was like start recording. It wasn't that. Anyway.
But Lee says we sound good, so I think we are ready to get started.
We have a number of things to talk about today. We, of course, got the opportunity last week to purchase the Smartdoll boy, Never Gonna Give You Up. And as did other creators, we'll get into that in a second. But lots of confusion and some, let's say, less than ideal choices.
Yeah.
The Tempest Strife. Once you launch, give it like 30 seconds for the audio start picking up last time, and you just didn't get the first 3 words of the opening. Interesting. So we've got to go through what is going on with the latest delay. But we also have a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff that we were going to try and get into in the last few weeks of the news, and there's just been too much other news. Mm-hmm. So hopefully we'll be able to get to that tonight.
And we have a little bit of an update from Danny, but not much.
Yes, so we do know his latest goal for when the boys are releasing. So let's get into it. All right. As we mentioned, the boys are delayed yet again. Well, we had the delay because of the very vocal quality and price concerns.
Yep.
And now we're delayed yet again. So, Sandy, I'm proposing we rename the boy.
Okay.
How about this? He's officially now Never Gonna Let You Buy. I think it works.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you buy. Sorry. We know it's not funny. We know a lot of you are waiting, but we gotta laugh at something.
There's way too many things in the world that are not laughable. So yeah, we're gonna get into what happened. I think all of this kind of stems from the creator release, early access. So let's talk about how we got our dolls, and which we unboxed last Monday.
Yes.
Live, and did a whole review.
Yep. It was a long news, but we hope it was worth it for you.
It was like over 2 hours, I think.
But no, it was like 148, I think was the amount. Yeah.
The thing is, Danny was ready to release it, and then, but some of the dolls hadn't. The first batch of cinnamon went out to what? Fabric Friends.
Fabric Friends and Dolls and Anime Sugoi.
So he didn't have cinnamon, but he did have coffee and tea. Mm-hmm. So when he talked to the community on Twitter and asked them, do you want to wait? Do you want to, see what's, do you want to wait till I have more? Or do you want it as soon as possible?
Michaela's with us tonight. Hi, Michaela.
Hello, girl. I don't know what I'm doing. We see that I don't even know where I am anymore. It was suggested by the community that Danny send it out to some people for like early reviews because there was so much question about the quality and the price. So he did that. He gave the creators, people who have been to the Smart Doll Outposts, access to purchase them. Not a free gift, just got, essentially early access in order for us specifically so that we could put out reviews. And essentially, I mean, he kind of told us to rip it to shreds in essence.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I spaced for a second because I just noticed he spelled leisure wrong, but we got a leisure typo.
Yeah, well, this is what happens when you don't review my slides.
Yeah. Oh, it's on me now. So some of the people that were involved in this, All My Plastic Children, that's Madeline and Malachi, that are very popular in the Facebook groups, etc. Beth Ramsden, Elite Doll World, Kitten Cat Shop, Leisure of Dolls, Magical Girl Kit Kat, The Baker 3.6, and Threads of Elysium. Michaela, did you get one? If you did, I missed a review, I think.
Lee says, you also have an unnecessary apostrophe and thanks for watching. But what is that? What is that in the end screen or like the scroll on the bottom? That's been there for like years now. Why are you just now telling us? Our own mod throwing me under the bus. So there are links in the description. I'll also probably put it in a chat or a comment and pin it, but check out the reviews. The reviews are, oh my God, it's taking everything I have not to literally fix that live.
It's okay.
Welcome to my neurodivergence. All right. We have, there's a number of them on YouTube, but a good chunk on Instagram, some videos not. I do want to point out, I think Elite Doll World, I couldn't find like a video review up. I think she went live, and Instagram, I don't think like records or posts the lives for later. So hopefully we're able to see that when it's time. Thank you, Barbie Witch. She says, fix your visuals, please. Apparently, Barbie Witch is now Gollum. The Bagginses. All right. We have, God, this is so off the rails already. Go check out their reviews. Ours was very long, but a couple of key things I think that came out of that. We did our best to answer like any and every question that people had.
Yeah, and we did what we do, which is we did the news first and talked about the lead up to us getting the dolls. So it was like I think we had a little extra task on us. We were kind of doubled up on tasks for that week.
Yeah, I mean, right, because again, it was important to understand like what we currently knew about the release, how it was going to happen, which we will take another shot at reviewing in case you didn't see that or watch it. We'll get there, but check out those reviews. I gotta say, I think we were probably the most like negative out of all the reviews, but there is ultimately, these are all people who love Smart Doll and, did their best to kind of point out the flaws, give their thoughts about it. And, you've got to make a decision for yourself. They are, not the same price. They are almost like, twice as expensive as the normal dolls.
Yeah.
So it's not, a decision that most people are going to just make lightly. Which of course leads us to Friday. It would have been like Friday night. I'm not sure exactly when this started.
Yeah, this wasn't that long ago.
the guys are supposed to release this weekend. That's what we had announced on the news last week. End of week was his goal. And
it looked like that's what was going to happen. All of us tried to get our reviews done so that those could be out there before people purchased.
Yeah. Now, I do know also that there were a few creators who didn't get in the first round, didn't get their purchase made, just because, I don't know, misalignment of timing, checking messages or whatever. But how he was handling the purchase was, because it's not like he's giving it to us. We actually had to process, put it in our cart and buy it, was to password protect it and give a password out to the creators, so that, and then of course he doesn't announce it, so it just goes on the website, password protected, and the creators were able to do that, grab it.
Right. Because it had to come out of his inventory. It had to all be paid for. That was the easiest way for him to do it.
Bardovich says, I know for all the discouragement they were supposed to do, that did not do much to make me think, yes, these stink. And now I want one where I didn't before.
I honestly think that people that have experience with smartdoll will really, really enjoy the boys. I think it's, my whole thing was hesitation on the part of people that have never had, held a smartdoll, had a smartdoll. I just think that they're better off getting the tried and true product first.
Yeah, especially if you've never had like like the Evolve frame and things like that. If you're not experienced, if you're experienced with Dolphies in general, I do believe that the guys are still, like, from a body perspective, in my opinion, better, more stable. Obviously there are differences and pros and cons to the various frame styles, but if you're like very, very new, which there are a lot of people, not just new to Smartdoll, but maybe new to vinyl dolls, I can very much see why, this would be, would likely lead somebody to like getting upset and returning it or something like that.
Yeah.
Not that we need excuses. So the problem, of course, is that the password, I want to say it was Thursday, maybe. I'm not sure exactly when it happened, but the product went live with the password again, I think for another creator or two
that missed his announcement the first time.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Oh, can we still get one?" So we think that that's what happened.
Timing wise, it's the only reason I can think of why the product was available. Now, of course, when that product goes live, we have multiple people with private versions, but we also have the very public bot tracking all of the releases directly from the Shopify store and putting them out, which a lot of people love.
Yeah.
Twitter, not reliable at all for notifications. Unfortunately, that means there were a lot of people seeing the launch of the guy without having any context to, what the release was or why it was happening and why there's a password on it.
And as most of you probably know now, we were allowed to buy a hand pack too. I even saw people asking on Facebook, the hand packs were up and I tried to put one in my cart, to get for my boy that I already have, and they, and then they had to have a password and I couldn't get it.
Yep.
And like a bunch of us went on and were just explaining. I think I explained like 6 times, like what was going on with that password thing.
So again, not everyone necessarily follows Danny on Twitter, or even those who don't necessarily read every tweet he makes. But so baseline, some confusion there. And then the person, the owner of the bot, decided to bypass the password. They essentially exploited a a feature of Shopify that lets you create a permanent link to a shopping cart. Like, so you can essentially create your shopping cart. You can, the problem with this, and it's literally going, okay, here's the password, making the choice that you want to bypass that password, finding the way to do that to see, has Danny left this feature on, and making a URL that links to a shopping cart that puts that has the product in it already. So you don't go through the product page, it's just dumping it into your cart. After determining all that, like, hey, I know a way to bypass the password, that link was then shared publicly on the bot account and invited for everyone to give it a try.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not even talking, it's not like the bot did it. The bot is just, I would say the worst impact of the bot is confusion because Danny put things over, put things up on the website that were password protected and were not for available.
Right.
But actually putting a link to the product to allow you to bypass the password protection that Danny put in place and allow you to shove things in your cart, it led directly to, a lot of people trying to purchase, Danny having to investigate, having to return all those things and disappoint people who have been waiting for this.
Yeah, and disappointing regular customers. He's had to tell them no.
Yeah, sorry, it's not fair for me to actually let you purchase this now. Mm-hmm. And now we're stuck with a delay. Danny has to continue to check other ways that, are there any other gotchas that Shopify has that he's got to close down or adjust? I mean, all regular, normal, learning things. But, I gotta say, the intent, we talk about this all the time, your intent matters and then your impact matters. Yep. So a lot of times you intend something, you're well-intended, but the impact is not great. This happens a lot of times when people discuss when we get into discussions about deeper, touchier subjects, even though you may have good intentions, how you phrase things has impact, right?
Right.
This is a case of malintent, the intent specifically to bypass and get access,
right.
to something that, no one is, none of those people were supposed to have.
Right. So technically there wasn't any hacking involved. This is a feature offered by Shopify. It's part of the whole system. But the way that they used it it can't really be seen as anything other than malicious.
Yeah. It's like, we had the conversation is this a hack? Not technically. It's an exploit, and it's, it is not intended for anything other than, to either confuse people or, I don't know, give your audience a leg up in something. But really, you're just grabbing attention, causing a lot of grief for, actual customers and Danny, and have now delayed the launch another week for everybody. So, congratulations.
Yeah, proud of you. We love that for you.
I'm happy to say, moving on. Thank you. So, we talked about cinnamon a little bit already.
Yep. The first cinnamon batch went out to Fabric Prints and Dolls and Anime Sugoi. We have actually seen that some people have actually received them.
Yeah. So that the shipments seem to be going out. Yeah. Well, he had to pre-order, and they sold out pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, we have this lovely image of him with the long curly hair. So with Cinnamon, Danny kind of put up, he's like, I don't have enough wigs. I'd like to be able to make Cinnamon available, but I don't have enough of the boy wigs that are intended for this doll. What do you guys want?
And that's
And
this is the wig that they should come with.
and he was like, I can put the long wigs on them if you guys want the long wig.
I gotta say, he looks great.
I like it. I really like it. And, he was like, what should I call it? And, normally this wig is the Blue Metal Edition wig, right? So I said he should call it the True Metal Edition.
Yeah, I love it. It is, it's very interesting. I want to say Dolly Path, and Dolly Path and Magical Girl Kit Kat.
Yep.
Both did some a number of wig try-ons,
Yes.
if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So lots of great options. Obviously, Kat's video, so you can go and watch that and see a little bit more live stream. But if you want a quick look, Dolly Path's on Instagram with pictures of various wigs.
Beth did a couple too. I actually really liked the medium random on him too.
Oh, yeah, I mean the medium random. I don't.
Yeah, with the bangs, like the one that was on Kanata for a while, the shoulder length with the bangs.
Right.
It actually looks pretty good on him. It also looks very Wayne's World, but it works.
Amazing. So I believe, I'm not sure, we've got these guys dropping. Yes, they're delayed, but let's be clear about exactly what we know right now, which is when they release, Danny will announce it on Twitter.
From one of the official accounts.
Yep. So just because it shows up in a bot does not mean that it's officially released. And honestly, if it has a password, your first thought should be go check Danny's, Twitter account, because maybe he's, he's done in the past. I think it was C2. He did a whole hint password, but it literally had hints in the it was like a quiz for the IP, right?
Right.
And he kind of told you how to find it in the experience on the website. This is just flat up a password. But your first instinct should be, if you see that not from Danny, go check Danny's Twitter, see what's up. And they will be released like this. You're going to see a combination of the Rick Astley book and
tea or coffee on the side on the next.
Yeah, or cinnamon sticks if cinnamon is up.
Yeah.
So you want to be on the lookout for that. No passwords will be involved. It'll be a regular announcement. It will just, again, want to be ultra clear. It will be under the chaos section, which means you're getting the full doll and everything, but you have to meet the chaos requirements of having purchased 2 or more items from the Smart Doll store before, and that purchase has to be more than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So you can't be a really fresh thing. Kelly Poplar says, will he make a Coco version of any boy, or will it just be just coffee? We don't know yet. We haven't seen a specific sign of Coco. I would guess that it's coming, but of course, with one mold for boys, it's gonna take some time.
Yeah, and he's got to lean into he's been leaning hard into coffee because coffee is so new and trying to build up that roster of characters.
Yep.
And so, I mean, I'm sure coffee, he hasn't said anything about Coco being discontinued or anything like that. So I'm sure probably Coco eventually.
It's just, if this is pure supposition or speculation, he made the 3 set. Coco is, probably they're going to have to do a run of that at some point, but he didn't want to wait for all 4 skin tones when, again, Coco, like you said, is so popular right now. When coffee is so popular right now.
Hi, Barb.
Barb, go to bed. We have what we know from Danny is next week, which let me see if he actually answered my question, which always takes time. No. So, he said next week, which I would take to mean, since it was like, I don't know, late last night or something that he sent this, like the week of the 31st and on.
Right.
Essentially, it sounds like Sandy was right and he's going to drop on April 1st.
But wasn't necessarily the intention, but it looks like it may happen that way.
Things have a habit of working out, right? Dee Dee says, I wonder why in the 5 years without boys, Danny never made another mold for the boys. Is it difficult to make the molds?
I was under the impression he did make more and that only one survived.
Well, I guess the question is like, why wouldn't he make more molds? Yeah, so there were more, this revitalization process was to revitalize.
Multiple question marks, and I need to respond to them. Kimberly, dropping on April Fool's Day, really? That is my guess. I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, at this point, again, when it drops, he will announce it, and it will not be a joke. Maybe Plush Collector says the new guy went from never going to give you up to down with the sickness. So looks like next week right now. Again, they're taking the time to investigate any other security measures that they need to take and put into place. And of course, as always, avoid clicking links, that are not from official sources. You don't see an entire link, especially long links, when you're looking at a Twitter account. So you literally just have to go on trust for the source. And just like with emails, if you want to make sure that something's official or want to make sure that, it's not somebody trying to put malicious code into that link to hijack your session and get your credit card information, stuff like that. Those are all dangers that you face anytime you click a link out there when you don't know the source or trust the source. And so that's a decision that you just have to make and, be careful.
So Heidi says, so will the people who got tricked by the link still have a chance to order? Well, according to Danny, from what he said in the post, that he said he was not blaming the people that tried to purchase.
Yeah, the only actions taken against people who purchased through that link, then thank you for reminding us because we did miss this, was to cancel the order. That's it. You get your money back, order's canceled, no harm, no foul. He recognizes that it was not your fault. And quite honestly, I think it's becoming clearer at this point that Danny needs to be really hyper specific, clear, and hopefully we'll see maybe some movement away from the very verbose blogging style, where for instance when he announced that creators were getting it, buried in the middle of 5 paragraphs,
right?
So it's easy to miss important stuff. Danny can definitely be clearer, and I think that will help a lot. I know there's in the last week or so I saw I don't know, the 4 posts from Danny was just responding to people saying, could you be clear?
Yeah.
So I think it's been painfully obvious, some of the ways that communication can be better. But that's at least what we try to do here as well. So if you're hanging out, we will always do our best to, give you our interpretation, understanding as best to our ability, because we pay attention. But of course, we can and will be wrong, or what we know can change. So always keep your eye on that official Twitter account. Let's see. Enchantarium says, I think the initial plan was to also make a new sculpt first and then make new molds of that as well. Then it was decided the old mold would get a renaissance. Yes, that's exactly our understanding. He was working on new dolls and then essentially was like, I could probably make the old ones work. And this is where we're at. It ended up being a lot more difficult and costly than Danny had anticipated, which is why they are at 98,000 yen.
You've got to recoup the cost.
Yeah. The Barber Witch says, less is more. People don't read. Kelly says, hope they drop April 2nd or something. Considering here, if you're in the know, you know that when these drop, it will be for real. And I wouldn't pay attention to which day they drop on.
Especially since April 1st is a different day in the US and a different day in Japan. So it's like those 2 days are kind of a blur.
That's true. He could drop it on the 2nd and it would still be the 1st for us. So, I wouldn't concern yourself too much with that. Katie in her doll says March 32nd, maybe.
And my only reason for thinking that it would be April 1st is because it's of the character. The character is a Rickroll.
Yeah.
So it kind of like it's apropos to release him on the 1st.
Yeah.
But I doubt Danny will do that now because of all of this confusion.
I don't know. I don't. I think it's still entirely possible.
That's true. Because, there's usually always a kernel of truth in what he does on April 1st. There's something that is real.
Yeah. Artemis Sky says, I hope the guys get to a point like the pair, and then people won't be so frenzied to get a guy. We'll always have a chance to get one. It's going to be harder because of the difficulties manufacturing them. But we do have an idea that they're going to be around. But the frequency is going to be much lower.
Yeah, they're not going to be like pretty much something always available like the Paragirls are.
Yeah.
They're going to be more of an infrequent drop. However, it will get to the point where everybody that wants one has one, and then when they drop, it will be more stable.
Yeah. And we do know that he's got 2 more characters coming by the end of this year at some point. So we've got 2 characters, 2 new face-ups already being worked on, which I think we've seen some variant little behind-the-scenes stuff. So which I think is a good segue. If you are enjoying this video and live stream and find us hopefully useful and clarifying, please give this video a thumbs up, hit the like button, and help tell YouTube that more people like yourself would like to see this video as well.
I'd like to say take out hand pack 1, but I'm not even sure where the thumbs up is anymore.
Yeah, we're kind of getting away from it. Boop the like button and you'll be good. So we've got some catching up to do.
We do.
We didn't have a time for anything but boys last week. So that means we got a double dose of the Smarty Party coming up.
We've been driving around, singing songs way too loud because we wanna. Picking up all our friends, fill up the car till it bends because we wanna. Yeah, we just wanna have fun. The trunk's full of wine. We're gonna stay up, have the time of our lives. The night is young, don't need anybody else. We came to party all night long, and we don't need no chaperone. We don't need nobody's attention, yeah, we just wanna dance on our own. We came to party all night long and sing along to every song. We don't need nobody's attention, don't need nobody else in our zone. Making plans so as we go, worried as when no one knows just how we want it. Going left, going right, doesn't matter tonight, just how we want it. We want it. Yeah, we just wanna have fun. The trunk's full of wine. We're gonna stay up, have the time of our lives.
Gotta love it.
Love these pictures.
Thank you so much, everybody, for sending in your pictures of your Smarties for the past couple weeks. Always love to see what people are taking a picture of. Love the MDK.
Yep.
The full like football team. Fantastic. It makes me like go back to things like the school uniforms and stuff like that, and going, oh, I really want like that picture of like all the girls in the same uniform. And then I realized that's a lot of money to invest in for one picture. But that was amazing, fantastic. So we've got some behind the scenes.
Yep, let's look at some behind the scenes.
Where are we going? There we go.
Micro braids.
That's right. Micro braids are coming. Danny sourced a new supplier for little tiny braids.
Yeah.
I don't know wonder how he's handling this in terms of like who's actually constructing this. Are they getting the braids in and then making like the vests themselves? Because normally he has like the wigs. He has a company make the wigs and then they get styled.
Right. They come in all looking pretty much the same, and then they get cut and styled. I'm not sure. I know Danny said that he was going to talk to somebody, a wig maker in London, that specializes in black hair, and find out what was going on. I don't know if he's getting stuff from them or if he just went to them for research purposes or what. But the braids look really good.
Yeah. I want short of this. I want long and short.
Short braids would be really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. There also we've seen some shots of some big girls.
Yep.
Now, we talked to Danny a little bit about the Smart Doll Plus when we were in Japan.
Yeah. When we were in Japan, we went through, in the tour, we went through some of the bins, and he pulled out some heads and some bust parts and things like that, and said, these, will probably go to Chaos at some point. But now he's working on a frame.
Yeah, he actually showed us the frame parts when we're in Japan. Basically, custom new Gitan parts. This is the stuff that the old Gen 2 and I guess original frame is made out of. You'll often see this called doll armature. Generally, it's Gitan's the brand. They make like these things with like holes going through them for like flexible but sturdy like hose connections and things like that. But you can kind of see here. I don't think I can zoom in. No. There's these new sort of clip connections that you can like slide something down into and lock in place versus just kind of popping out with some pressure. Especially useful for the shoulder sockets.
Yeah, I think one of his purposes was to be able, with the current way the frame works, you can't very easily take the arms off and put them back on. And for this one, the goal is to be able to remove the arms and stuff the way you can on the regular dolls.
Yeah, that's like travel, as always, for Danny, because he does it so much, is a big consideration for him design-wise. So this is important. This is a Smart Doll Plus standing on her own, which doesn't really happen.
Yeah, no, they're kind of floppy.
Yeah.
And we actually have All My Plastic Children's frame.
Yeah. She's
not here. She's upstairs.
You may have noticed a Smart Doll Plus haunting the background of our studio a few times for a while there, and we do have it. I've got actually some video of installing the frame from All My Plastic Children, but ours, I have a feeling our shells were like early, or like not prototypes, but like used in the store kind of thing.
Right. They were already cut and everything.
Yeah, and I ended up having to like recut a hole for it and do some weird stuff. So their great frame is specifically designed for one that came exactly the way theirs did, and because ours didn't align and I had to like custom do stuff, it didn't quite, it doesn't quite line up. And currently she's sitting with a shoulder busted out because of the pressure popped out one of those Gitan joints.
Yeah, and we're waiting for a tool to put it back on.
Yep. I have every size but the one I need for the the wrenches. So on order, I'll get it, and we'll probably put that video out. At some point, Danny may be putting out these. You can see some of the experiments that he's doing here. Much bigger Gitan joints.
Yeah, fills in the space more, which it's probably helping to make her less floppy.
Yeah, a little bit more stability.
Yeah.
I can only assume that this is, I'm not sure why this is specifically there, other than maybe it's like giving some stability up into the neck, perhaps. You can actually see his current version and how he's, there are like, God, three or so various strands, like an octopus in there.
Yep.
So looking very cool. I can't wait to see what he ends up doing with this, just because of like that stability. Mm-hmm. It is amazing. I believe for the most part you need to create like some little mini, tripods and stuff, like the Smart Doll stands, to get them to really sturdily stand up. I think in the right position, all my Plastic Children, probably in like a properly installed version as well, does a pretty good job of standing up stably. Mm-hmm. Ours is just again, the measurements just don't quite match because we have such a weird, shell in comparison to what they had. Now, I guess not even just weird, just different, right? So I don't know what's going to happen with this. Danny did mention, in reaction to everything that happened with the boys and stuff, of scrapping, not putting this out there, that'll be just for himself. I don't know if he'll change his mind. I feel like he could still put this out like he did the boys in chaos. This is not... this type of thing is not like production quality, like in terms of like how they're put to, you know what I mean? Like this is, more like the Simplicity kits. You're going to probably, it's so big, you're probably going to have to put it together yourself.
Yep. Yeah. When they've come before, they've been they came just parts in a box.
Yeah.
So, and they were something like, I want to say they were in chaos, and they ended up at the time with the exchange being something like $3,000.
Tepistrife points out there you can see the white printed doll in the back by the window. So yeah, definitely a good picture to kind of keep your eye out for goodies. You got eye packs down there. Some I was gonna say Crocs, but they're not Crocs. Somebody's shoes or slippers, I should say. Are they? No, they're not. They're too big. I was like, are they for her?
No, I think those are somebody's
They're just regular slippers.
Because I know on that floor, he made us take off our shoes and stuff. We weren't allowed to, because they try to keep it very clean.
Yeah. It's as much of a clean room as it can be, basically. Because that's where they're putting, they're doing all the construction and everything. All right, we've got some new Tora cardigans.
Yep, we're getting a gray and black version, or light gray, dark gray.
It's ivory and dark gray.
Oh yeah, I see that. Ivory and dark gray. That'll be very cute.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen it yet, or we haven't gotten it out yet. He hasn't gotten it out yet, but there's a green one coming too.
Oh, that was teased a while ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So keep your eye out for that. Those are always nice. They fit. I can't remember. Do they fit both dolls normally, or did he make them specially prepared?
It fits the pair like the way it's supposed to, and then it's a little bit bigger on the classic girls, which means it'll probably fit the boy.
Yeah, probably. We have to try that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do that. Not now, people. Calm down.
Cyber Bust?
Yeah, a new one. Haven't seen this style before. It looks
like stitched up. It's giving like Frankenstein-y vibes.
I mean, I guess a little bit. I mean, it's blast doors. It's, like if that opens up, that you expect the cannons to come out.
That would be very cool if it did open up.
Yeah, I don't, I'm sure you could make that.
Make it hinge.
Yeah. I know what I didn't do, and I think I'm going to try and find it. You know what? I'm sorry. We need to see this because I'm
not sure what you're looking up, so
it's stuff that I forgot to put in here, and we'll probably talk more about it in I think we need to do like a Cortex update video at some point, and go through kind of where he's at, because there's been lots of little things happening. But a few weeks back, or I don't know, a month ago or so, we talked about how Danny was altering the spine to make more room.
Right, the curve in there to make more room and have it go line further to the back.
Yeah. All right, let me put this up here. Whoop. He put some 3D models up. Let me get... There we go. Of these components. And it's like, this is clearly like a stand port connector to the, to the top of the pelvis.
Mm-hmm.
The pelvis has that cross coming up out of it. And this goes down on it and then is the stand port. These are some sort of shoulder with like a cap on it, or like, I don't know exactly what that is. Here it is in the like the back half of the Cortex shell. This is a huge amount of room. And I'm even just thinking about this now of like why you would do this. I'm wondering, well, like, this is kind of weird. It has no arms.
Yeah, and I was trying to come up with reasons why, and I was like, magnets?
Yeah, I guess. I was like, setting aside this, if it's just this and nothing like connects to here, maybe this is a situation where you're like, oh, you could alter this so that you have a bunch of room if you don't need the posability or something like that. And Shadera says Cortex not going to have a spine at all. I'm sure it's going to have a spine because we actually also have some other pictures of the spine. Where is it? See if we can find it here. I apologize for not... There it is. So this is a new version of, like, it's a much more sleek designed, like, futuristic organic design to the spine that we saw that Danny had that ran up the back of, instead of running up the center, it ran up the, where a spine normally goes. So this looks like, it looks like it actually replaces that other part. I have no idea what this annotation means. Maybe it's the hole. There is a hole here, so it probably maybe has to connect to that hole in the back. But it looks like one piece. Now, again, this is kind of odd because, how are, like, there's no movement in this torso. Like, there's no, unless it's, like, flexible.
Right.
Yeah, maybe it's going to be a flexible spine. But
Dusty Cat says that thing means the cross section of the spine is a triangle.
Ah, good call. Thank you, Dusty Cat. Oh God, I'm there. You know your name. Thank you, Dusty Cat. Yes, that makes sense. Although from the point of view of this, I would expect it to be turned the other way. But yeah, this is, obviously these are sockets. I just don't know, like, I'm not sure what the use case for this is, considering there's no joint here, so there would be no, like, torso movement at all.
Right. It's all one solid piece.
Yeah.
So there's no, it might flex at the hip, but not anywhere else.
Yeah, you still have the normal hip joints,
Yeah.
but there's no joint here, so you can't bend them forward. So I don't know. Again, maybe this is a shot at designing, it's...
For mannequin?
Limitation, I doubt. That seems like a lot of work just for a mannequin.
Yeah.
When the default is already posable.
Right.
But yeah, we'll see what happens with these. How does that connect with I can't. out of this. No. Wow. Does that connect to what we saw previously with like what we described as like little magnet port things?
Yeah, I mean,
don't
that
know.
other thing really looks like caps that you put that can go on to that shoulder joint that can make it into something you can magnetically put parts on.
Sure. And maybe that's like for, I don't know, you need cannon arms or like
Right.
literally something
Right.
that's, so yeah, I mean, I think flexible could be it, but the thing about flexible is it's not posable. Flexible just means it will move, but likely that means to go, unless, what if, so when we were in Japan, Kat gave Danny a Stretch Armstrong, right?
Yep.
Like, and if I remember correctly, didn't those have like some like wiring and stuff in it or something like that? Or like, I don't know, like what if this is something that flexes and holds some shape as it stays there?
I don't know.
I really doubt though that is mechanically sound. So who knows? Yeah, it's definitely some interesting stuff. I don't know where this will end up, but really cool to see all the experiments failing. Lee is calling my stupidity out. That wire would fail eventually. Yes. Anything like that would be. It wouldn't last.
Yeah, and Engintarium said, Dusty Cat, yeah, it seems more like a concept sketch. So,
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a concept sketch. And maybe it's a concept sketch of like, this is what it would look like with nothing, but it doesn't take into account any any joint aspect there. So that's interesting to me of why, like what idea like came up? Is this just like going, hey, okay, what would a spine look like if we didn't have to do that? But I would expect that he would have an idea of the purpose for that design constraint. Otherwise, that section right there of how this pivots is kind of an integral part of the design. Lee says, it's not you being stupid. It's just Lee calling me out on every little thing tonight. All right.
just keeping you humble.
Yep. Now I want pie. Thanks. Let's talk some leather pants.
Leather pants.
We've got, I think there was a lot of talk about these leather pants, about it being the one of the guys possibly from like Love and Deep Space.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely is a cosplay, and it is a very specific cosplay. And I'm surprised it's taken Danny this long to do it because he's, the IP is like straight up his alley.
Yeah.
And he loves it. But we've been seeing these pieces teased for a while now. And if you've been watching the timeline pictures on the smartdoll website, you probably, have a better idea of who it is if you hadn't guessed it already. This I prepped a few weeks back. But this cosplay is the protagonist from Cyberpunk 2077.
Right.
And I can only assume like he better get the glowing the glowing lines in that thick collar.
That would definitely be very cool.
You can also see Danny's cyber faces from the cyber lines to the core text is very much modeled after.
After on her arm too. Doesn't her arm have the same thing?
Well, similar. I mean, it has, I mean, that's a normal thing, but I'm just saying specifically this right down underneath the eye, looping up over to the ear.
Yeah.
And We also, here's the concept sketch art for Female V. You can get another picture, look at the pants and the jacket. It's very cool. This is probably one of the most intricate things I've seen him make.
Mm-hmm.
I do have more pictures of the jacket, I think, coming up. We also have this one, which, like, do you have, like, you and I have talked about this briefly, and it probably went in one ear and out the other because you don't care about this game.
Yeah.
But what does this look like to you, Sandy? Not actually who, but like what is he building?
Pants? I don't know what you're asking me.
Well, all right. So it's like some sort of overalls and stuff.
Oh yeah, okay, overalls. Yeah, all right. I was trying to figure out what you were trying to get me to get at.
Hey, what you think it is? We got that and this. Some temporary tattoos put onto this bust, and you can see the characters, like some of the close-up concept art or whatever in the background there, and it is clear that Danny is also, along with V, making Judy Alvarez, who. I don't know. I feel like you're in one of two camps. You either love Judy or think she's the most naive, stupid character in existence.
I like her look a lot. I like the modeling of the character.
She's really cool. She's probably one of my favorite characters in the game. Very tragic story. And yes, extremely naive. And, somehow manages to not be completely cynical. Elise says apparently she's giving me so much trouble that Chrome made the tab fail and had to restart it.
Serves you right. No, I'm just kidding. I'm all for giving John a hard time.
I am inside the machine. So yes, speaking of Ghost of the Shell, back to Cyberpunk. So yeah, 2 characters from Cyberpunk 77. This is the current progress pics of the jacket.
It looks really good.
This is insane. We got Samurai on the back. Really nice, faithful representation of it. You can get an idea for, I don't know, did they take brown leather and then they're painting it to weather it?
That's what it looks like.
But they've got brown up there too. I don't, or I guess maybe that's a lighter brown than the brown of the
that would be my guess. They're putting the highlights and the shadows on it.
So freaking good. Yeah. I want this, Danny. A lot of the cosplays are really good, and they're you kind of want them, but they're they're nowhere near as intricate as this. It's here's a skirt and a shirt, and
Yeah, he doesn't really give those away either.
No,
those go on the wall.
Yeah, this is Danny. Encouraging creativity.
Yeah. And he's playing too. He likes it.
Yeah. I feel gosh, Danny, you do you. Maybe, some of these patterns sneak out sometime.
Take out some of the stuff that is really obviously.
I wouldn't even necessarily. I guess it depends. If you're giving away a pattern on this, I don't know how it would be. You're not making money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I guess what I'm point is there's so much to learn from the things that they're custom making for this.
Mm-hmm.
But of course
that's what he does. That's one of the reasons they do it too. A lot of the stuff that they make as a cosplay ends up working its way into the regular clothes for the dolls.
I also suspect, I don't know, how much do you think they're really making pattern, like the amount of work to probably turn this into a pattern is a lot, unless they're going to great lengths, because they're not making it
Well, I mean, they
reproducible.
have to, they drape it and make it. I mean, I'm sure at some point there is something that they use to cut from.
Sure,
So
but having the pieces of a pattern and having a printable pattern that's usable.
And I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of the patterns that that he's released have taken some time too. Like he's going back through and like adding English instructions and cleaning them up and stuff.
But even then, like the stuff that he released before didn't like it was all in Japanese. You kind of had to figure it out for yourself. But those are still made to be reproducible. Versus he could sit there, drape some things. Like you don't make, when you do your stuff, you end up doing very custom stuff and don't necessarily like restart from a pattern all the time.
Yeah,
like,
I make pattern pieces, but they're like not something that anybody else would be able to use.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would be my guess is, the biggest reason why my request is out of the question. So this, fantastic, really good. Let's talk patterns for a second, since we're talking about it and talking about boys. Already starting to see some patterns out there for boys.
Yep. Kitten Cat Shop has released 2 patterns, the jinbei and a pair of trousers. I have the trousers cut out and I'm working on assembling them right now. This was actually, we can show what I made. I actually have been sewing for the boy, which is like odd for me. But in our sewing circle on Wednesday, we worked on the t-shirt. We don't have to take it all the way off. We worked on the t-shirt and I made this. So I actually made what I think is a halfway decent t-shirt, which is like, I don't work with knits. So it was an achievement for me.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, and so I've got a pair of like light green with cream crosshatch linen looking trousers upstairs that I'm working on.
Yeah. Heidi asked if Kit Kat ships to Europe. Obviously check with them. I believe that they may be limited right now because of all of the changes in Europe.
Right.
Yeah. Tempest wants to know if it was sewn with a machine.
Yes, mostly the serger.
Which is kind of what you want to do for knits, right?
Yeah.
Very cool. Lots of new stuff coming out for the boys. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see what happens, but if the popularity of the boys and like the community around the boys and like making stuff, like the creators making patterns and putting out clothes for them. I mean, we're already seeing Elite Doll World, released or is, I don't know if she is working on a boy shirt.
She's got a few things. She had things before.
Yeah.
For the other boys. So there is stuff available from her right now if you go to her site. She's got like the ability to do a full array of colors in some tops and stuff. She released in some new sweaters and pants. So she's already got stuff out there. Yeah.
Maybe we'll see how Danny feels, about the boys, but for the foreseeable future, they're going to be slow. I think the only hope of like a real, resurgence of boys is a new body sculpt, designed from the ground up, most likely. New molds being done.
New molds would actually allow him to do more in the future if he can get more, even more of like a new mold of this guy.
Yeah.
Would allow him to do more.
Definitely keep your eye on the boys. We will be doing some more content with our boy Reason here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he actually he's inspiring me to sew for boys, which is very
Shocking, quite honestly.
yeah. It's actually keeping me from doing the project I'm supposed to be doing. So
Also shocking. That was, I don't know if that was sarcasm or not. It kind of works either way, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I think that's all we got. If you're still hanging with us, thank you. We are not going to be streaming next week. So you'll probably have to, no.
okay.
But you'll probably see us the week after for at least probably a news, if not an actual video.
And if you want to hang out with me, you can hang out with me in Discord on Wednesday afternoons our time for the Sewing Circle.
And I should also note we did our first. I think only like 4 or 5 people ended up coming in, but we actually started streaming on Discord. Us playing Split Fiction, the new co-op game from the makers of Two of Us. I think was the original game.
It's very, very fun. It's a hysterical game. The one thing I will warn you, and I'd forgotten until I was doing it already, I don't swear that much. But when I play video games, I drop friendly F-bombs a lot, so just to be aware of that.
And I just realized that Sandy's probably convinced enough of you to join us the next time that the 25-person limit may be too much for all the people that want to just listen to Sandy swear a lot.
Barbie Witch wants to know what my serger is. My serger is the Janome Air Thread. The 2000D or something like that.
Keep your eye out on Discord for events. We are also, I think, going to be putting. I was going to do it for tomorrow night. We'll see who wants to actually hang out, but we've got some. We've got to put some eyes and heads of fusion dolls. So we're also thinking that we may just do a Discord hangout and chat. While we do that. So keep your eye out for that. And also, of course, we have to give thanks to ignore these people. But, thank you again, Barbie Witch and Tempest Strife, for your ones. I got you last time. Thank you to our Discord subscribers for all of your support every month. Starting with, of course, Warsheep, our mascot.
And our sponsors, Agarva, Bizbota Redheads Ramblings, Busy Bee, and Cami Faye SMD.
And our cheerleaders, Anne-Marie, Appleboy, Celestial Styles Alaska, Dee Simone 22, Doll Dragon, Holly K, Juna Thorne, Liz Marie, and Soup de Whoop.
We love you guys. We thank you. Everything you do for us goes, towards the channel.
And yeah, that's gonna do it for us this week. We'll see you in 2.
Bye.
Bye. How do I end this? There we go.